All right, I'm going to wait a bit and see if this is actually live. The last few of these, it did not start for 30 seconds. It started giving me a timer. And then after I started talking at the 30-second mark, it restarted with a new timer. So I'm going to wait for a minute. Let's see what it actually does. I don't know why YouTube is messing up like that lately. I don't know why it's doing that. Why is it doing that? Let's see what it does. Because no one's in. There we go. Okay, I think we are now live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would sit down, do a live for you guys and gals. Let me get a sip of my water first. Give you guys a bicep shot before we get started. Oh, my bicep is. Of course, it was bicep day. All right, I'm going to chat with you guys about progressive overload, and then I'll entertain questions. We got quite a few people in last night, the one I did yesterday. So we'll see what rolls in. All right, progressive overload. What we need to understand with progressive overload, the purpose of it is not to add weight to the bar. That is not the end goal. All right. No matter whether our goals are to gain muscle or to gain strength, we want a training response. We want a training response from every set that we do. Okay. And it's important that you understand that the progressive overload is not about the adding the weight to the bar, because if you don't understand that, it becomes, well, if I'm not adding weight to the bar, I'm not making any gains always, or I'm not stimulating anything. Okay. Whereas the reality is your ability to add weight to the bar when sets are hard is because you gained muscle already. So the purpose of progressive overload is to make the sets more difficult, but not difficult relative, difficult overall, meaning because you are bigger and stronger, you're capable of doing more work. Therefore, if we do not progressively overload, the sets get easier. In other words, if you do all your squatting and benching, let's say you build up to 135 for sets of 10 on both of those, right? And you don't increase anything ever again, you're going to get as big and as strong as you need to be to comfortably bench 135 and squat 135 for sets of 10. And you're going to stop gaining muscle and you're going to stop gaining strength. And it doesn't matter if you keep training and just doing 3 sets of 10 on these every week for the next 5 years, 10 years, 17 years, you're going to stop making gains because the sets are too easy. You are used to it. You will reach a point to where it really becomes your 14 or 15 rep max. And it's just not challenging enough to make your body adapt. So by adding weight to the bar over time, we continue to elicit a training response. Okay? We continue to elicit a training response. So that's the point. The entire point is to make it more difficult so that the difficulty scales with your adaptation so that you continue to get a training response week after week, month after month, year after year, so that we continue to improve, even though it's going to be a diminished return curve no matter what. Okay, getting some questions in here. I'm not even going to address any relationship questions from now on. I'm not going to read them out. I'm just FYI, I'm going to ignore them and pretend I do not see them. And I think I have this set to where these questions don't appear for people rewatching it. So Marco says, if I bench 230 at 170, how much body weight should I expect to get to bench 315? I don't know. Marco, it's not about body weight. It's about gaining muscle. Because I don't know your levers. Have guys at 170 pounds benched 450? Yes. Do you see the problem with the question? You may not have to gain any net weight. If you gain 5 pounds of muscle and lose 5 pounds of fat, how much body weight did you gain? 0. But if you're benching 270 and you build up 5 pounds of muscle mass, okay, what's going to happen? Is your bench going to go up? So, and Marco says, oh, well, I have long arms and I deadlift 540, but my bench leverage is sub. So build bigger chests. Build your pecs. If you get bigger teddies, right? Do the teddy bounce? Okay. To keep you focused. All right. See the teddy bounce? If these get bigger, right here, these things, if those get bigger, your chesticles, your bench will go up as long as you continue to train heavy and you don't lose neural drive. Now, arguably triceps, if you're a little bit more moderate of a bencher in terms of grip, right? Obviously, they play a role, but them chesticles, them teddies, build your chest and your bench will go up, irrespective of your levers. Yes, if you have longer arms, it's going to be a harder, slower process. But it's still an issue of gaining muscle mass. Okay? Pretty straightforward, brother. Tan. God, your name is, did I get it right? I totally got it right this time. His name is Tan. All right. Say that 3 times real fast. All of you try to do it real quick. All right. He says, thoughts on adding peanut butter to protein shakes for extra gains. Fat is not as anabolic. However, if you are struggling to reach even maintenance calories while keeping protein sufficient, sure, it can be beneficial. My hard gainers, I have them add natural peanut butter sometimes. Ideally, we get our best lean bulks on very, very, very low fat. But if a person is struggling to even reach maintenance calories, well, it makes sense to add those clean fats. And we would much rather add those healthy fats. Why? Because they're going to be less detrimental to things with to insulin sensitivity. Okay, that's its own topic. I feel like that needs to be addressed a lot more. Right, that needs to be addressed a lot more. Of fat type and food type and how it affects insulin sensitivity. Kind of a big deal, especially when we're talking body composition and muscle over time. All right. Can a novice, Nick Elm says, can a novice build muscle with bands? Yes. As long as there's progressive overload, a novice will build muscle doing anything. If a novice sneezes harder every week, they will gain muscle. Yes, I know that is hyperbole, but it holds true hypothetically. Mike, Jason, I remember you used to use the floor press a lot, but I haven't seen it recently in your vlogs. You have plans to rotate it back in. Not at this time, but doing some heavy floor presses can increase your max. Like if I wanted to build it to a big max bench, I might actually do some heavy singles with the floor press again, depending upon where I'm missing the lift at. Okay, for neural drive from certain positions in the movement, dude, it can be a monster. Benny Watts says, Coach, I don't know if you cover this kind of topic. What's your opinion on the hot tour girl? We're in, August? Why are we still talking about her? She's last month. She's like June. Bro, the meme world, in the internet, stuff from a month ago, you might as well be like nice boomer joke. You drink from a garden hose. Did you drink from a garden hose when you were a kid and turned out okay, boomer? Dude, you can't bring up meme stuff from 6-8 weeks ago. That's ancient history. Like, dude, you might as well be 150 years old if you do that. Okay, that's not how this works. This week, we're all talking about the chick who did the interpretive dance, with a PhD in interpretive dance, from Australia, who was doing breaking at the Olympics. Okay, that is the topic of this month. Get with them times, son. But yes, she did say hot to a spit on that thing. Feel me? All right. Felix says, I have no idea what the meme hot to. In short, there were some drunk girls, I believe in Nashville, Tennessee, a couple of inebriated, lovely young ladies were exiting an establishment that serves alcoholic beverages, and a gentleman who does TikTok was interviewing women, and he asked them, what trick do you know that drives men wild in bed? And she replied with this lovely young lady replied with her Tennessee accent, you got a hot two spit on that thing, you feel me? And she started laughing. And it went viral and got like 10 million. It got like 10 million hits within a matter of a day. And it went everywhere. She's now been interviewed on all sorts of places. She's now famous for being the Haktua girl. No, as in Haktua, a poo, like spit. You wouldn't know about that apparently. All right. 10 says, I'm at 1,500 calories a day, coach. Well, eat more. Eat more. He also told me, you talk like a police officer. Are you a cop? Coach, no, I'm a cop. I did make an A in Texas criminal law, though, when I took a class in it. So I do know the difference between things like preponderance of the evidence and the history of the Code of Hammurabi, right? But no, I am not, in fact, a police officer. I do hang out with a few of them, though. All right. We have any other questions that don't involve, like the word Haktua has now appeared so many times. Marco asks, if we do cardio but don't walk 10,000 steps per day, is that an issue? You know, I think if you're at a point where you're using a step tracker, I think that's a little obsessive. It's just cardio. Cardio is just activity, dude. You know, honestly, it's not even exercise. 10K, your steps is just neat. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Right? Felix, I'm on social media a lot because I make a lot of my living on social media. So I absolutely see all of the trends. Very familiar with it. Mike asks, Jason, have you watched Shane Hunt's behind the neck press videos? He does reps with 275, has a max of 315, and strict down to the traps, no push press. That is insane. No, I haven't seen it, but if that is legitimately what the guy is doing, and I believe years ago he used to comment on my channel quite a bit. I know there were some issues, some other stuff going on with him. I forgot what they were. I know there were some problems. He ran into some issues, though, with some stuff, and I might have even addressed it at one time. I don't remember the details. I'm getting old. But a person who can do a strict 315 press even to the front is a beast. So if he's doing it behind the neck, what more can you say other than that is just, that's legit. That's next tier level strength, right? That is a kind of its own little tier. There aren't many guys in that category. How to minimize injury risk on preacher curls besides going too heavy? Don't cheat. Come all the way down, come all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, and don't lay back and try to lock at the bottom within your ability to do so. Use a weight that you can do full range of motion reps on without laying back. Don't cheat on the final reps by laying back, especially when it gets near the bottom. That's it. That is the simple trick. And for God's sake, don't do force reps. All right. That's how you avoid injury. Felix says, I do labor outdoors all day, so I don't get too much time on the computer. So glad to catch one of these lives. Hey, man, glad to have you in here, brother. A Pooh says it's 85 pounds behind the neck for 10 reps and presses. That's how much I can do. I think for you, that's really good, A Pooh. You need to keep working on it, keep moving forward. That's a good start. And you know what? Every victory counts. Don't ever let anybody, if you have made progress, that's the other thing. Don't let anybody sell you short. I only give guys a hard time when I have a reason to, because I have some other beef with them. That's it. So when you see me clown on someone for any of that, it's because they're starting something or their follower started something. It's just trash talk. Okay. But for you as a person out there just living your life who's going to the gym and training, if you were at 80 pounds for 10 and you got to 85 for 10, that is a victory. That is a victory. You should be proud of that and keep moving forward. Because it's better than you were doing. All right, those small victories add up. What happens when you reach 300 small victories? Well, it turns into a major one, you know? All right. Get some other questions going that don't involve the hot tour girl. That is a pedal board. It's a Pooh says, thank you. Random question. What is that thing on the floor in front of your guitar speaker? That is called an amp, not a guitar speaker. That is a Marshall amplifier. That is a pedal board. Those are various pedals. First one is a tuner, so I can tune the guitar without easily. I just plug it in and it tells me whether to take each string. The next one is an Ibanez tube screamer. The next little small one in the middle is a reverb pedal. The orange one is a Boss DS1 distortion pedal. And then that bigger black pedal on the end is a Marshall Drive Master overdrive pedal. Yep. All right, does that cover it? Mike says, are you still coaching Louie and Emma? Not at this moment, no. And they were clients for 4 years, but no, not at this moment. All right. Marcus says, apparently high reps are more fatiguing than low reps and cause more muscle damage. Is there a point in doing high reps? I think there is. Right? I think there is. I don't necessarily buy that they're more fatiguing. I really don't necessarily buy that. My opinion says me. Felix, I saw you've been back into Warhammer gaming. How much money does it take to get into it? You can go to the Warhammer website and you can look at the price of models. Assume at a minimum, even if you wanted to just do Spearhead, you're going to need a Spearhead box for an army. Probably going to need the core rule book. You probably need the Spearhead box. Then you could download PDFs, I guess, of your other stuff. So you're looking at, just for that buy-in for small Spearhead games, not even a full-size game, approximately $250. You can get past $1,000 really, really fast. All right. And I'm only talking Age of Sigmar. I don't mess with the other ones. But I put all my stuff up on Facebook. All my painting is up there. You guys only see a little bit of it on the channel. Go to my Facebook. I have a whole folder. Carson, Coach, how big were your arms in your prime? I'm really not sure. What do you mean? I'm in my prime now. Because I was a bit bigger and softer when I was young doesn't mean I'm in my prime right now, bro. What are you talking about? When I was in my prime. All right. Your chesticles bounce. In my prime. Probably about 16 and a half inches right now. Let's get some other questions. Let's get some good topics. Since we covered progressive overload. What? My live froze. Did my live freeze? It's still rolling on my end. My internet signal is strong. My timer's running. Do you like curry? It's all right. I kind of like, I guess, jalfrezi. Actually, I kind of like Josh Rogan sauce. It's okay. How much do you need to bench to be able to do a pec balance? I don't know, about 250. That all we got, guys? We had a bunch of questions rolling through. Now it's kind of chilled out, man. Marco says, are most of your clients still on conjugate? What training system do they follow? Most of my clients these days, hence notice the change in what I discuss on the channel. Right? Most of my clients are physique transformations at this point. I have a couple people who box semi-competitively, a couple power lifters. Most of my people, they just want to be jacked and strong. Honestly, most of them do upper lowers, or they do body part splits, either 3, 4, or 5 day splits, depending upon the specifics of what we're doing. Honestly, I would say my average lifter, my average client right now is probably 35 to 40 on a 3-day push-pull legs type split. Like if I had to pin it down as a specific demographic, who cares a little bit about strength, but who just wants to do their dad bod transformations usually. That's actually probably my largest demographic these days. Guy says, Josh Rogan sauce, never heard of it. I love curry. Or Rogan, I don't know, man. Dude, I can't remember the names of all these sauces. I think that's what it's called. Am I right or wrong? I don't know. Get someone from the UK to chime in. Of Macrum said, let's see. What do you think of the claim that ice cream is a health food in moderation? I'm gonna call bullshit. I've heard it from the same people that advocate for raw milk, sourdough, and butter. But okay, anyone advocating for raw milk is a freaking moron. All right, just gonna call that. Anyone who is telling you that you should drink raw milk is a moron. Full stop. I don't care who they are. You can tell them I said that. There is literally no evidence that it has any health benefits, and it has been studied, and it carries a small amount of risk. That's it. Butter is a junk food. The data supports that. It is stripped of most of its nutritional value. It causes insulin resistance, elevated LDL, and it's just saturated fat with most of the vitamins and minerals stripped out. It's junk food. Okay? So my answer is, why would those people say these things other than they're part of some weird fad diet cult? That's it. Mike, I'm not going to address the political unrest in the UK. Felix says, do your clients stop giving clips for vlogs? With that, client vlogs were helpful. I stopped asking for them. And I had clients who wanted to keep doing vlogs, but I'm just like, I don't feel like doing them anymore. Maybe if I had certain clients back, I would consider vlogs again. I can think of maybe 3 clients I had who I would consider vlogs again if they were on and they wanted to do vlogs. Outside of that, I would really have no interest. And that would probably be Michelle, Emma, probably Mikey. If Mikey wanted to come back and do vlogs, or maybe Doug, I would, but that's about it. And honestly, a lot of my current clients like their privacy. A lot of my current clients do not want their clips up just for various reasons, professional reasons and personal life reasons. So I don't even show their stuff. All right. Jason, what about doing more client interviews like the one you did with Doug? Maybe. I'm trying to think of who would even be good people. Maybe Justin or someone would be good. All right. All right. Derek says, you had a run-in with Mark way back when. What's your opinion on his beef now with Dave Palumbo? See my face? What beef? If you guys do not link me the beef, I don't know about it. Derek, did you send me a link to the beef on any of my social media and say, hey, coach, there's a beef going on between these guys. You should check it out because I'm going to ask you about it. I have no idea. First I've heard of it, dude. Right? Your post is the first I've ever heard of Mark having a conversation at all ever with Dave Palumbo. To my knowledge, they've never even had a conversation with each other of which I'm aware. I'm sure they have, but I'm not aware of any. Okay. Leg curls or RDLs for hamstring, which one is better? Yes. They work different functions. RDLs are a hip hinge, and leg curls are a knee flexion exercise. Those are different functions of the hamstring. They don't work the same areas evenly. In fact, some of the hypertrophy data shows that the hip hinges like the RDL tends to work the proximal side of the hamstring more, whereas in the leg curls and similar movements tend to work the distal side a little bit more, just in terms of ratios when they measure both activity and hypertrophy. So I guess the question would become which one will put more total size on? Probably the RDL, but the leg curl will build parts and functions of the hamstring that the RDL will leave less developed. KLU says, does Jason Blaha golf? I have not golfed in over 20 years. I haven't golfed in over 20 years. When I was in high school, I golfed some because my dad had a membership to this whatever little golf club. She wasn't even little, it was a big golf club in the area. He and his best friend went, and so they had family memberships. So we used to play with them sometimes. And then his son, who was named Matt, we used to play a little bit of golf together. But I never did it that much. And I don't think I've played any golf since I was maybe 18 or 19. I don't think I've played it at all. Do you do any outdoor activities, Ron? I don't discuss my outdoor activities because I have stalkers. So the answer to that is you don't get to know. Have you ever played a team sport in high school? No. Nope. Do you find the GHR does more for your squat, or just mostly? For me personally, I don't know that it does much for my squats at all. Definitely my deadlift. Thoughts on Lyle McDonald's rapid fat loss? I'm running it for 3 weeks. Is that different from his protein sparing modified fast? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. I think I vaguely read that a long time ago. I don't remember the specifics to give you a good answer, other than to say that Lyle is a pretty smart dude. Most of his advice tends to be pretty good overall. So if you're getting good results doing it, I don't see why you wouldn't. All right. Like Lyle is a legit source of information, right? He's a legit source of information. Sorry, the person who asked that is called Saul. Saul asked me that. Felix says, do you still think a belt squat is a worthwhile investment prior For a home gym, I mean, I figured out how to finally get mine to work when I put the handles back on and quit trying to do it the other way. I've been able to get it to work pretty decent lately. Honestly, it's really going to depend. I do feel like most people, once they're through the novice phase, would benefit from some sort of squat pattern machine. Now, that's going to depend on what you have for space, your budget. I don't think the belt squat is necessarily superior to a leg press, right? Phil asked me, what do you think about gluten now years ago? I know years ago you said there should be a pro gluten movement. Um, I'm not going to get into that a lot because I have people who I'm close to who feel they have problems from gluten. I don't personally believe that there is evidence that gluten is really particularly an issue, to be honest. It's my opinion. Okay. I just don't see any evidence for it. Now, it's still a protein, it's just not a very, very high quality protein. All right, Nick Young says, is creatine supplementation still worth it with the new studies that have come out about it? I mean, maybe. It still has some very, very, very minor benefits. They're very, very minor, though. And I would say as long as it fits within your budget, I don't see any harm in taking it. And you could get a little bit from it, but it shouldn't make a noticeable difference, right? It's not going to make a difference that you can see. If that does, then that is going to be placebo because the benefits in the studies are too small for you to measure. They require equipment to actually measure. They're very, very small, but it does do some stuff. It is still potentially useful. Yeah. Saul says the rapid fat loss and protein sparing modified fast is basically the same thing. I thought that it was. Apu says creatine messes with my stomach. Try mixing it with food or with milk. Felix says, is yogurt a good food if lactose intolerant? I saw one of your old videos where you said you couldn't drink. Felix, I handle milk really well outside of the UK. It was the milk in the UK that I couldn't handle. Like it tore me up. And I felt like I had some milder lactose intolerance, but it's gone now that I'm back in the US. The milk in the UK, though, every time I drank it while I was there, no matter what brand, whether even if it was organic or whatever, it gave me diarrhea within 10 minutes every time I drank it, every single time while I was in that country. The milk here doesn't do that. So I don't know what the difference is. But Greek yogurt or yogurts in general, absolutely, they should be fine if you're lactose intolerant. Absolutely fine. Mike Jessen says, Jason, Mark Lowblighter, and Al Roberts talk a lot about similar topics in regard to modern diet and obesity crisis. I think you would be a good fit to be a guest on their show. You should reach out. I don't know about that. They probably don't want me on their show, to be honest. Right? Tyrone Hansen says, looking lean and fresh, bro. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. Still trying to work on getting leaner. Although appetite's been a little high lately. It is what it is. We just train. We train through it, train fasted. Keep moving forward. Well, that's what my weekends are for. A lot of times my weekends I'll have a day where I eat very, very, very low calories to help balance all that, though. A lot of times Friday evenings. But actually, social events are good for that because I tend to not eat a lot of the stuff people have, and I'm going to bring my own stuff, and I tend to eat very little. Kind of the opposite approach of a lot of people. A lot of people are like, oh, how do I avoid it? It's like, I don't eat this stuff. If I bring my own stuff, it's really easy for me to do that. And just drink Diet Coke. Tan10 says, have you ever been to a rap concert? No, I haven't. I have not. I've been to some rock, metal, and blues concerts. I have not been to rap. Alexander says, I always love to watch your nutritional videos while I'm boiling my potatoes. All right, that's cool, man. That's cool. I don't even know any current rappers, Tan, to be honest. Like, when people ask me what rappers I know of, it's going to be stuff that's so old that people would laugh. They'd be like, oh, it's ancient. Like the Ghetto Boys, 2 Live Crew, Tupac. All right. My age is really, really showing there. God, my age is really showing when I bring it up Ghetto Boys. Oh. Felix says, my friend brought a vegan snacks to our dinner at a restaurant. I felt so bad. Why? Whatever, dude. Let him do his thing. Scott Humphrey says, do you ever have a week or two off from training? Nope. Alexander says, nutrition is much more deep and interesting than training. It can be. Because at a certain point, like I can put people into good programs and they'll be good. Nutrition is definitely more complicated, honestly. Some guy whose name I cannot pronounce because it's all like random letters, we'll just call him Cthulhu Fatung. How rare is 500 double overhand deadlift? Pretty rare, but no one cares. Like, it's rare because no one cares about it enough to train for it. Like, look, nobody cares, dude. Why not just do some grip standard that there's some sort of things that people care about in the grip training world? You can do that. Because the double overhand deadlift is just a test of grip. That's it. That's the only thing that's really testing, because a 500 deadlift is not particularly impressive. You guys have seen me do it for 11 reps before on camera. So that end of it is not that impressive. So it's really just a grip feat, right? All right. Oh, Macron says, I dislike the taste of meat and rarely eat it, so I prefer to get most of my protein from milk, eggs, yogurt, whey powders, soy every day. Could it be a health issue of not getting enough animal protein? No. Why would that be a health issue? I mean, technically, dairy is arguably better for our gains than even meat protein, if we're going to get down to the brass tacks of it and the fine details. Nick M says, mine playing tricks on me came out in 91. You sure didn't come out sooner than that? So 91, I would have been about 15. I guess that does sound about, I guess that does sound about right. I was thinking it was a little younger. I thought it was 80s, but I guess it could have been 91. Tam10 says, I have kittens. Can I send you one? Nope. This Cthulhu Fatung asked me, have you slept in bed with Dorian Yates? I suppose you think that is some sort of clever question. All right. I was going to ban him. Hold on, but I'm not. I'm just going to leave him. I'm going to let him just sulk in the stupidity of his question and just leave it alone. 10, my turn-ons and turn-off. That's not really your business, dude. I'm not going to go into my personal bedroom stuff. Like, not on here. Not on a live stream. In fact, 10, that sort of stuff, we probably need to just get rid of you. I mean, come on, dude. All right. Marco says, do arm wrestlers have insanely strong grip and forearms, or is it more due to technique because they usually destroy strong powerlifters arm wrestling or overweight outlift them significantly? How about its combination? How about it's a combination? I think it's both. I think it's both technique and grip and forearm strength. Keeping in mind, they all have insanely strong grips and forearms to be arm wrestlers. They train the hell out of it. Just because the other guys might have stronger pegs and traps and quads doesn't mean that they have stronger forearms than those arm wrestlers. Mike says, Jason, do you ever have urges to visit the UK again? No. Nope. Alex K says, Jason, you rock, brother. I appreciate it, man. Well, 10, we need to chill. Don't ask me stuff like, we don't need to ask stuff about my sex life and everything else, dude. Come on. All right. I'm going to let you stay, though. Artie says, what's the consensus on the amount of sets per week in muscle groups these days? I don't know that there is a consensus. Felix says, what do you think about the trend of jaw exercises like mewing? I think it's ridiculous. All right. Alexander says, why are striated hamstrings so important in bodybuilding along with glutes? Because it shows that they're lean. Those are areas that it's very, very hard to get lean, even if you have nice abs. That's why. That's it. Purely because for some people, that's the last area they're going to lose the last little bit of body fat. It means that they're absolutely shredded bra. That's why. That's it. Does incline build delts more than flat bench? I think it does. Go Jag ask that. Already says, so 10 to 20 sets a week isn't a thing anymore. No, it's a thing, but you're asking what's the consensus? I feel like we are further from having a consensus now than we were 5 years ago. There's too many different schools of thought and camps with different data showing great results with stuff even outside of those ranges. So that's the problem. Is I don't feel that there is a consensus, but I do think that's a good area for most people to hang out in. But I've also had clients drop below that and get phenomenal gains who are not novices. Apu says, does the kind of water you drink matter purified distilled alcohol? You shouldn't be drinking distilled water, for one. You're not getting minerals from it. Alkali is a scam. Right? Drink clean water, dude. What is the most you've done on the stiff leg deadlift? I don't know. Well, 10, it's not my job to give you as a stranger on the internet advice on limit. I'm sorry, dude. It's just not what I do. I'm a coach. You're gonna have to go find someone else, you got an uncle or someone, in your life. Go ask them. Right? Phil Hogan says, how many meals per day do you like to eat after you break your fat? Do I like to eat? I like to eat about 50 meals. I like to eat. I don't count meals. I don't even know if I eat true meals during my feed window after I break my fast. I usually just have a feed window. It may have complete meals, or I might just graze through that whole window. I don't really break my day up in that sort of traditional way, right? Okay, this Cthulhu Fatoon, you're just a weirdo. You're gonna have to go. Sorry. Bye. Bye-bye. All right. For those who can't read it after, he asked me, what are my thoughts on moving to Venice Beach and marrying Dana Len Bailey? Alex, I'm not going to discuss that parts of my personal life. I don't have a specific timeline anyways. And if I did, I wouldn't make it public. All right. Someone whose name is not in normal English letters, Western letters, so I can't read it, said, I noticed a minor low back rounding in the deadlift, but I'm stronger this way. Should I keep doing it? Yeah, probably. Apu says, have you ever met Vince G from POG before? Nope. Nope. Didn't he drop out of the fitness world like over 10 years ago completely? All right. All right. To the guy asking about the rounding, if you're stronger that way, you're comfortable doing it, keep doing it. There's no evidence that rounding, as long as you are consistent with the rounding through the range of motion, has any risk of injury. It's only if you start rounding after you lift it off the floor that is correlated with injury risk. I mean, that's what the data shows, even in elite powerlifters. Marco says, is RDO/good morning enough for hamstring development since I don't have a GHR device at home and the Nordic curl actually hurts my knees? So those are out too. Marco, you already know the answer to that question. Can a hip hinge fully develop the hamstring? The answer is no. So when you say enough, what do you mean by enough? Define enough. Are you asking me, can you fully develop your hamstrings that way? And the answer is obviously no. Can you build big, massive, well-developed hamstrings with those? Yes. Mike Justin asked about Alan. I am actually friends with Alan Aragon. I'm not going to jump into that entire fiasco. I have my own opinions on it. But yeah, Alan has absolutely stayed sober. Yes, I have spoken to him about it directly. And I know quite a bit about the backstory there, but again, I'm not going to get up and really make a statement or discuss that. Tyson Hansen, how much do you walk each day? A certain amount. I don't track the exact amount. Nick M says, is a glute bridge considered a hip hinge? Yes, to some extent. It does involve a hip hinge as far as it is the movement pattern itself, yes. Is it necessarily the same sort of strength curve we think of on other hip hinges? Absolutely not. But is the movement pattern itself, would it be a hip hinge in terms of the pattern? Yes. Yeah. Alex, I'm probably going to ban you just for even mentioning that weirdness. Okay. Sorry, I know that you gave me a compliment, but you guys know my policy. When you even bring up weird stuff like that person, you don't get to stay in my comments on my channel. Right? That's very, very common knowledge that I have that rule. All right. It's not like I haven't said it 100 times. All right. And I want to be clear on that. Making fun of these of handicapped individuals is unacceptable. Like you're a bad person if you do that. You really are. You're a terrible person. All right. And to even entertain this stuff and discuss them in a way you are making fun of them. TKS says, what kind of behavior might you see on the deadlift if you have a lower back weakness? That's way too nuanced to cover in here. I've done pretty long videos on that, though, in the past as far as what you'll see in the movement pattern. Jacob Henderson says, nice Gibson. You want to see it up close? All right, here she is up close. This is a Les Paul Traditional Pro 5. All right. All right, we got her over here. I don't normally play sitting down. Okay, that's enough. She is slightly out of tune, by the way, in case you guys noticed. I need to tune that one. I haven't tuned her in a couple of days. Les Pauls are notorious for going out of tune for those who do. No, Tyrone, I don't know Sweet Home Alabama. All right. Right. I don't know Sweet Home Alabama. I played mostly blues and rock. Not quite that old a rock. But I played some Skinner, man. Thoughts on 50 Cent's physique, and he claims to bench 405. I very seriously doubt that he benches 405 for reps, right? But does 50 Cent have a good physique? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Dude's got a good physique. I don't know current, but I know historically he has. Alexander says, hey, Jason, what do you think of 24-hour fasts of OMAD? I'm not a fan. Marco says, is rounded back on a deadlift actually dangerous? I can deadlift max weights without rounding back, and I can deadlift close to mid 500s. Never have any low back issues. Not really a major problem. As long as your back isn't rounding after you start the lift. Pulling with a rounded back, if you're used to it, has not been associated at all with higher injury risk. Go Jag says, do you think field athletes use a belt for ME and DE work when running conjugate? I don't know. That's subject to a lot of debate. On conjugate, though, I kind of do like a lot of belt for a lot of it. But even running some beltless rotations isn't a bad way to go. Maybe in phases. You know, I think particularly it's like for field athletes. Tyrone says, any plans to bring back the breakfast chats or more food? I mean, food content, but I'm not going to eat on camera again. Those were very short-lived. They were very unpopular, and I will not be doing those again. And I don't even like doing it, right? Scott Humphrey says, do you ever feel like not training, tired, exhausted, or made it? Why does feeling like training have anything to do with it? I mean, I do mean that as a serious question, Scott. And this will explain my mindset. Why does how I feel about it matter? If Monday is bench press day, unless I physically have something like an illness or something preventing me, why does how I feel about it matter? Completely irrelevant. You train bench on Monday because Monday is your chest day. That's it. That is literally the only factor that matters. What is on your schedule to train? Is there something physically stopping you from doing it? Those are the only two questions. Alexander says, hey, Jay, are there already an epidemic of carnivore influencers that suffer cardiac arrest like sticks of butter? I don't know how many have, but they're all on the way towards it. Look at a lot of their blood work. All right. The sport of bodybuilding says, I'm going to wind this down here soon. He says, why do some people say Arnold Schwarzenegger and some golden era bodybuilders are average Joe bodybuilders that wouldn't make it to Mr. Olympia today? Objectively speaking, by the current criteria in professional bodybuilding, which I'm not a fan of, by the way. I want to be clear. I am not a fan of modern current bodybuilding at all. But by the current judging criteria that exists right now, was there a single golden era bodybuilder that you can think of who would even have a pro card? With the physiques that they had then, would they have a pro card? let alone get to the Mr. Olympia. No. It's a different era, different requirements, different leanness required, way, 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 way different magical supplements. The pharmaceuticals required to even reach the Mr. Olympia today did not exist in that time. They did not physically exist. All right. Mike Justin says, Jason, for squats, at what weight should someone start wearing a belt? I feel like I'm plateauing at 225 reps. Fine, throw a belt on if you want. Felix, I'm not running a list right now. As far as I'm not going to do the old death count thing. I don't feel that I want to put that sort of energy out there, you know. All right. No, 10, asking someone about their sex life is really completely inappropriate, right? I mean, you know that. Just because it's the internet, people do stuff that they wouldn't normally do, right? They get behind a computer and say and do things they wouldn't do. This is technically my job. I'm working. Would you, in a professional environment, at someone's place of business, in public, ask them about their sex life? Like, would you have the balls to do that? Like, in front of a group of people? And if the answer is no, then you shouldn't do it on the internet, right? And I think that's fair. Alexander, there's a lot of nuance to that question. I'm not going to discuss the specific substances. Right? I'm not going to discuss the specific substances. Jacob says, play the Gibson through the Marshall. I don't know. Let me see real quick how she sounds through here. She's out of tune right now, though. If I can do it without knocking my glasses off. All right. It's going to sound a little funky for a second while these pedals all turn on. All right, you guys hear it okay? All right. Yeah, it's a little out of tune, guys, sorry. It's out of tune. Yeah, sorry, it is really out of tune. All right, what do you guys think? Definitely out of tune. See if that solo sounds okay, the next one that will come up. Yeah, I've got to tune it before I do that next time. Sorry, guys. Turn it off. Super out of tune. Can I sing for you? I can't sing, guys. All right, we're an hour in. I played for you guys my Gibson completely out of tune. So let me go ahead and wind this down. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.